27 people are dead, and we should do everything we can to prevent it from happening again. Joining me now is Congresswoman Diana DeGette, Democrat from Colorado, and former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, now an NBC political analyst. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks, Al.
Congresswoman DeGette, let me start with you. You put forth a bill targeting high-capacity magazines. It already has 105 co-sponsors, 16 of which signed up today. Is there momentum for real gun control this time around?
Well, there is momentum. Congresswoman Carolyn McCarthy and I from New York introduced this bill earlier this session. After the terrible shootings in Aurora, which are right outside my congressional district, we tried to push for this bill. It's only a step of what we need to do, but to be honest, you're never going to stop some seriously deranged person from trying to shoot a gun, but what you can do is stop them from having these magazines that will kill 26 people in a 10-minute period. And so we're urging, the bill's ready, it's ripe. We signed up 16 people in 1 hour this morning. We think that Speaker Boehner could bring it to the floor this week and show the country that we're really making some positive first steps to keeping these serious weapons out of the hands of people who are criminals or who are seriously mentally ill.
So you think that it's possible to bring this to the floor of the House this week?
We could do it. It's been introduced. It's ripe. We have a number of co-sponsors. And then the first of the year, we're going to work with Senator Feinstein and others to do a more comprehensive bill that deals with the assault weapons themselves and a lot of other issues, too. But right now, Congresswoman McCarthy and I have this bill. It will ban these assault clips, which were used in this case and used in Aurora and used in Arizona and so many other places. And it will give those victims a fighting chance once the shooter stops shooting to tackle them and to stop so many more precious lives from being taken.
Now, Governor, there are signs the country's changing. A majority of Americans see the Newtown shooting as a sign of a broader societal problem, not just an isolated act. That's a complete reversal that followed the shootings in Virginia Tech and Tucson and Colorado. Americans simply thought those shootings were isolated incidents. It doesn't seem to be the case this time. So when you hear governors like Governor McDonnell and Brewer and others, it seems like the ground has shifted much differently than it was before, yet you still hear Republicans seem to be talking as they did in the past.
Well, you're right, Rev, but look, it is shifting, and as usual, the Republicans are out of touch with what the American people are feeling. I have a question for Governor McConnell. Regardless of, and the Congresswoman is absolutely right, limiting the number of bullets that can be in a magazine or a clip to 10 doesn't guarantee that a crazy person goes out and does something like this again. But it sure as heck guarantees that they can't fire 100 bullets in 60 seconds.
Right.
It means that after 10 shots, they have to go into their pocket. They have to first take out the magazine, the clip that's been spent. Then they've got to go into their pocket and put it in. I know from my days in the Army, when you're doing that and you're under pressure, very often you jam it, which is what happened to Loeffner in Arizona. And you remember, Loeffner was disarmed while he was trying to put another clip in. Can you imagine if Lanza had to do this 8 or 9 times? The chances of the kids running away or someone disarming him would have been enormous. And I want to ask Governor McConnell a question. Give me one reason why a law-abiding American citizen needs a magazine or a clip with more than 10 bullets in it. Give me one reason why a law-abiding American citizen needs an assault semi-automatic rifle. One reason.
Well, McDonald says it's too early to deter gun control. I certainly would love to hear him answer your question. Congresswoman, the shooter in Newtown had 30 rounds per clip. 30. Right. Your nation would limit to 10. 30 rounds per clip. How does anyone make the case that you need 30-round clips in order to protect yourself?
Yeah, Reverend, there's no real case to be made for it. When I ask people this question, they say, well, we want it for target shooting. And what my response is, the risk to innocent little children like the ones who were killed in Connecticut is so much greater than the pleasure that shooting at targets with a .31 clip gives to target shooters. Really, it's a no-brainer to me. And the shooter in the Aurora Theater had a clip with 100 rounds of ammunition. That's why he was able to. That's why he was able to shoot up that whole theater in 2 or 3 minutes. And you know, there were military personnel in there. If he had just been able, if he had had to stop, they could have tackled him. They could have taken him out.
The reason he didn't have to stop, Governor, is because he had those 100-round clips. And let's not forget, Governor, in Newtown, one of those kids had 11 bullets in him. I mean, we're talking about some unbelievable things here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable evil, but you're absolutely right. And one of the points the Congresswoman made, and we should remember this, is in Aurora, although the majority of the victims were adults, there were 2 6 and 7-year-olds, and there was one 6-month-old baby, that got killed. So this isn't the first time we've lost our kids.
When does this end?
When does it stop?
And when is there a legislative response? One of the reasons I was so happy to have you on tonight, Congresswoman, is that we can't just shake our heads and say something's got to change. Somebody has got to move forward some legislation and take a roll call in the Congress on who is going to stand up and who is not. Call the roll. Let's see where it stands, Congresswoman.
The moms and dads of America deserve to know where their member of Congress stands. And that's why we think the Speaker could bring this bill to the floor this week, the one banning the assault cartridges. And then, starting the first of the year, we're going to have a much more comprehensive bill. But right now, right this week, let the American public ask their member of Congress where they stand.
Well, Governor and Congresswoman, I promise you we'll run the roll down. People ought to know all over this country who stands for what. When you have babies, 6-month-old babies killed in Aurora, you have 4 to 10-year-olds killed in Connecticut, and people are talking about we have to wait on the facts. Those are enough facts for many of us.
One thing we got to do, Rev, is keep the pressure on Speaker Boehner, because he could deep six this and not bring it to a vote. He's the one person that could protect his members by not bringing it to a vote. The American people need to know where everyone in Congress, every man and woman in Congress, stands on this issue. So, Speaker Boehner, bring it to the floor.
Let's take a count. Let's call the roll. Congresswoman Diana DeGette and Governor Ed Rendell, thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Coming up, Republicans are already plotting to block